Hey YouTubers! Hey, I was thinking about putting this video together for some time now. I'm going to call it Lathe Tips and Tricks. And it's stuff I've picked up along the way, things people have showed me, things I've learned on YouTube, and I wanted to make a whole compilation of all of them together on one video. Hopefully it'll help you beginners out. I was there a short time ago, and some of these things really helped me out a lot, and I appreciate all the folks out there on YouTube who are putting these videos out, especially Mr. Pete. He's got some really fantastic videos. So let's start here. If you don't have an outboard spider on your lathe, I would definitely recommend making one. This is probably one of the best, handy, useful outboard spider tools you can have or use, because you can actually center material on the tailstock along with your chuck for precision barrel crowning, threading, whatever you may need that for. I found that a magnet would not stick to this material very well. So what I did is I took the protective shield off here, and I used their little mounting area, drilled it, threaded it, made this rod, and just adapted it for this dial indicator. That way, when I have a piece of material centered in the outboard spider adjustment screws, I could center that material perfectly using the dial indicator. You can get it pretty much dead nuts. It takes a little time because you got four adjustment screws here, but you'll get it in time, and take your time and you get it. That thing really comes in handy and useful, so I want to share that. Moving along, let's see. I use this often, Carriage Stop. Got this from Grizzly. It's not part of this lathe, so I had to buy a little extra. I think it was like 30 bucks. It is adjustable, and you can tighten it wherever you need it, and then you have about, I don't know, I'd say about a little more than a ½ inch of travel either way. Really comes in handy. On the other side of the carriage, I made my own Carriage Stop / dial indicator. For all us poor guys out there without digital readouts, this thing really comes in handy. Basically what I did is just make this aluminum block to fit the bedway and mounted a dial indicator in it, and now I have real precise measuring either way. So I'm sure everyone has slop in their carriage feed, so that with this dial indicator you can make up some of that without having to worry about that slop. You're going to get an exact reading either direction every time. I also made this so it works on either side of the carriage. I can remove the dial indicator and put this pin in here, anywhere in here, and use it as a carriage stop as well. Okay, the next thing, this thing gets used more than anything else on this lathe. Before, it was just a hex head set screw inside here to lock the carriage when you're facing. So I took this off an old lathe or old machine and machined a bolt and made it so basically all I have to do is tighten the carriage, and I can do my facing without it worried about it walking either direction. Very handy, very handy. I would definitely recommend adding this to your lathe. Next, my other poor man's digital readout is for the crossfeed. Basically what I did is I just took a magnetic mount, put it on the face of the carriage. I machined this little aluminum block right here. I have 3 different settings. I can put it in each one of these or flip it over and have another 3 settings. So if I need it to be out here, no problem. Just put it in one of these, flip it over. This thing really comes in handy also. Gives you precise measurement on your cross slide in and out. Also, too, what I did is I picked up one of these surface gauges off eBay pretty inexpensively, and I leave it set to the exact dead center of my center. That way I can adjust my tool heights really quickly. Just put that over here and adjust my tool height to that point. and it's dead nuts every time. Really comes in handy, and then I just move it off to the side when I'm not using it. I know you've seen some of these in some of my other videos, but I'm just going to put them all together and just do one. Here's something I learned from Mr. Pete, and it's very effective, very accurate, and works very well. Basically what I did is I just cut a 2x4 to a perfect triangle, drilled some holes. I have this plunger, stare-it dial indicator, and basically what we're using this for is to center our tailstock. So with all this out of the way, you'd have your tool in here, your center in here, and then basically you would center on the tool, not the tailstock itself. You could, but you're going to get more accurate on the tool. So basically what you do is you get your tool in here, get your tailstock up here, and bring it into here so you have your measurement, zero it out, and then move your chuck around to the other side, and you would have to have a mirror handy. That way you could read your dial indicator with the mirror. So anyway, one of Mr. Pete's videos has the exact instructions on how to do all this. This is just a quick down and dirty effective way of doing it. Also too, here's something else I use a lot. I just put a rare earth magnet right here. I got a chip brush right there. It's out of the way and it's easy to reach and comes in handy. That's another one of my little quick tips. I saw this on a YouTube video a long time ago, and I never thought I'd have a use for it until I started machining small parts in the chuck. And basically I can use it this direction on the tool post or this direction, and basically what you would do with it is you put it on your thing and you would center your part, and that way you get it dead middle center on your chuck. And this way you would put it, if you were putting a washer or some type of facing type operation, you could get it centered exactly. So that's another one I want to show you. Also too, this is basically just a piece of steel bar with some weights on it, and basically I have it for my dial indicator stand where I can move it anywhere on the lathe bed. Really comes in handy. Sticks very well to the steel, sometimes not so good to this type of steel on the lathe. That comes in handy. Also, I got a Cook champagne cork inside my tailstock to protect it from chips. Oops, get rid of that over here. Also too, this comes in handy. I got a digital scale on my tailstock. Basically that's going to allow me to measure accurately in and out in inch measurements or millimeters. So basically all I had to do was I think I bought this from Shars for about 30 bucks. Mounted it on there, and I had to make this piece here that basically clamped around your tailstock. So my thing's very useful, especially if you put an end mill in here and you want to just mill a hole so far. That's it. You're going to get an accurate reading. Anyway, I found the need one time to machine some very small parts. So I had this little tiny baby drill chuck laying around. So I basically just machined a arbor, threaded it, and put it on this chuck. And now I got a perfect small parts chuck basically for my big chuck. Works very effectively. I was a little leery about it, didn't think it was going to be accurate, and believe it or not, the thing is very accurate and comes in handy with those tiny little small axle parts or whatever you're making, modeling type stuff. Also too, I make a lot of my own high-speed steel tool bits, and to save some time sharpening these, because I always like to put a nice fresh edge before I start a project, I have a little inexpensive Harbor Freight belt sander that I set the table on 10 degrees, which I found usually works for most of my tools. and that way I can sharpen my bits quickly, pretty quickly. That's one angle, then I do the other angle, and then the last angle I pretty much do freehand for the relief. And this comes in handy. Quick, always plugged in, ready to go, and you can get a nice fresh edge quickly on it. So there you go, Harbor Freight $30 belt sander, and the belts are pretty inexpensive. I think I run about a 200 grit belter or so. And then if I really wanted to get a mirror finish, which you really don't have to, you can get some of the fine micron belts as well, which isn't really necessary, but you could. I keep all my tool posts loaded up, ready to go here on top of this little nuts and bolts rack. That comes in handy. I keep a set of metric Allen's hex head T-handles on here. That comes in handy. Keep them there. I have another dial indicator on a magnet, which comes in handy if I need to grab one real quick and set it up. Basically just took a magnet, milled a little axle or bar, and just put it in there, and it's good to go. Of course, I have some of my measurements here because I can't remember all that stuff. Anyway, moving right along. Some of the best kept secrets but behind threading is the correct compound for threading. So what I did is I started asking around, and a machinist buddy told me about this material here. I believe it's called Union Butterfield drilling and tapping fluid. It's a little expensive, but it's a gallon container, and this will last a long time. And this isn't only it. The secret is you take this and you mix it with some anti-seize compound, that silver stuff that gets on everything, and you make yourself a little mixture of that, and I'll tell you what, man, your threads will come out beautiful. I took this little metal container and I added some rare earth magnets to the bottom. That way it collects all the metal shavings and keeps them out of your fluid and off your threads. So I just keep this acid brush in there, keep this fluid on hand, and for drilling and tapping, it extends the life of your bits, and the stuff just makes beautiful threads and eases drilling. When you're drilling, it cuts through material a lot better. So that helps out an awful lot. Another thing I found is I was getting tired of getting splattered in the face. So I got a little piece of Lexan plastic from Orchard Hardware and just made a little shaft the same as an indicator. And basically I can throw this in there, and I have can set that up anywhere over here, and I have a little protection shield that I can use to protect my face from flying debris. Comes in handy. It's Lexan. It doesn't scratch easy, and it sure comes in handy too. And it's a good safety feature. Anyway, I want to pass that along, so I keep that handy. The next thing I wanted to share with you is this thing made by Schwag Off-Road. This is probably one of the most useful tools I have in my garage. It is a porta-band saw table. And basically you take, if you have a Milwaukee or a DeWalt porta-band, mine has a 4-inch throat. Basically it mounts in this table, and this thing is so handy for cutting just about anything. I have a metal blade in mine. It came with a foot switch, but I keep it as a hand switch. I didn't want all the cords on the floor. So basically this thing is just very useful for all types of cutting applications. It's got a 2 3/4 inch ribs cut in it. Excuse me. You can use one of these to make some straight cuts. This thing, you can angle it. You really don't need it. It comes in handy, but the saw table itself really does. So I think that's about it for now. For threading aluminum, WD-40 is the key. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to shoot me any questions or share some other your own ideas. A lot of this stuff really comes in handy. It makes machining a lot easier. You can become a lot more proficient. Anyway, take care and we'll shout at you soon.